From rock bottom to the bright lights, this is where redemption meets hustle. CEOs, entrepreneurs, creators, and comeback stories. This is real inspiration. Welcome to the GITT Up podcast with your host, Adam Larkin. It's not just a show, it's a movement. Now let's get it. Today on the GITT Up podcast, I'm sitting down with a true media professional and creative entrepreneur. Dwight Alex Douglas is the owner of D.A.D Entertainment, host of Dwight at Night, and a seasoned figure in television, film, and live entertainment. Dwight's background spans hosting, acting, videography, coaching, and production. He's worked behind the scenes in front of the camera, also training actors in Louisville to produce in weddings, independent films to appearing on television shows like Nashville, Relative Justice, and guest hosting on Hey Kentucky. Today he's filming at Lex Studios with his talk show airing on the local ABC affiliate, continuing a career built on storytelling, conversation, and giving people a platform. Dwight, welcome to the podcast, brother.
Dude, that was amazing. Thank you for having me, Adam. I tell you what, it's good to be here. I tell you what, the ambiance is smooth in here. I love it.
Absolutely. It's totally chill. And, we're both coming live from Lex Studios. Yeah. So if you want to film a project, do a podcast, anything, come out to Lex Studios.
Dude, it don't get no better than this. I tell you what, one week you'll have a hospital scene in one room, and then they'll flip it around and they'll turn it into a office scene the next. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the audience, man, where are you from and where'd you grow up?
Well, I'm from here in Lexington, Kentucky. I graduated from Bryan Station in 2005. And then it was literally around then when I started trying to get into acting and improv and all that stuff. And then so all the radio ads and did all of that whole 9 yards, and started to take acting classes and did that for a couple of years. And then I did comedy off Broadway, where I was able to kind of be a fly on the wall as acts came through and talk to them and watch their shows for like 2 years. And before you knew it, I was down in Louisville teaching acting classes and doing the same thing there, where I'm trying to just build an infrastructure around here and a industry where people can actually, be in front of the camera, but actually make a little bit of money. It's weird. It's a hard industry to break into, and it's primarily because the business models in this area has just been different. It's one of those areas where if you're a business professional, it doesn't make sense to have so much revenue or so much money tied up into the camera's side of being able to produce a production, and then the legwork behind a production to be able to put something on, whether it's a TV show or what have you. It's expensive. It's one of those things where it's difficult. And so for years, like from the early 2000s on up to the mid-teens of 2000, it was just difficult. And businesses wouldn't take on that much of a issue. So they prided themselves on selling people, a trip to LA where you could be an actor or improv comedian or what have you in LA or New York. And then after you do that, then you get a maybe 5 to 10% chance of getting a call back or something like that. And so that was always one of those sticklers for me, where I was like, we got to find a way to just build an industry and build an infrastructure here where if that's your dream and your career, then let's do it here. That's been the whole thing.
Right. Yeah, I'm from New York, and it's like, taking that leap of faith to just go to LA or New York and not have anything going on, man. It's like, it's hard. It seems like, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like it was a lot easier back in the day. Was it not?
Well, imagine this. So if you're coming out of high school, let's say, and some people are fortunate to come from means to where they can afford to, but then there's a huge amount of folks who can't. And what they ended up doing is you could look out and all of a sudden maybe I can go to LA and New York and audition and be one of 200 other talents that are from all across the country. And then you go there and then you get a call back here or there, but there's no sustainable future to it outside of the perspective of having to commit to going to LA or New York. Because that's where all of the productions are filmed. And so that's where the meat to the sausage is made, I guess, if you would say. That's where all the action has. And most of the businesses here understood that. And so in order to have some degree of integrity within a business, you got to give people something if you're going to sign up to a class and 10 to 15 week course to go to these trips. You've got to give them something. And so that's what they did. And they did that for years and years. And so my whole thing is if I could rewind the tape 20 years ago, I would love to have been that guy that has an opportunity for an actor or an actress, a teenager or an adult, a young person or a senior citizen that would love to be able to just be in front of the camera and tell stories and make people laugh and embrace their creative side right here.
Right.
And that's the fun of what we do at Dwight at Night. It's just because it's funny. It's a good time, and it's an opportunity for people to be able to embrace a lot of the creative side that has not been exposed to the market nowhere near enough.
So looking back, were you always drawn to entertainment, media, and being around people?
Yeah. I played sports in high school. Here's the thing. The problem with me was my mother didn't give me a hula hoop when I was little. So I didn't have like all the dance moves and stuff, because growing up in the mid 90s and early 2000s, you had to have some rhythm, and that wasn't me. Now, granted, after years of having church culture, I learned how to clap on command and everything. So I've got a little bit of rhythm. But what that did was, going through like elementary and middle school, you just begin to develop a sense of having to get people's attention the other way. So then you just learn how to be funny and get everybody's attention, that class clown, so you would say. And so before you knew it, I was still playing sports and stuff. But for me, when I came out of high school, my dad was a hilarious fella. I was named after him, Dwight Alex. Well, his name was Dwight Andrew Douglas. My name's Dwight Alexander Douglas, but so we got the same initials. And the word on the street is that he did that because it didn't want me to be exactly his exact replica, but it was still a play on words to where we can use it. And he was hilarious, his wit, his improvisation. And so when I got around to getting to understand who he was, and then with my stepdad, I was blessed to have two dads, and growing up, it was one of those things where it was just exciting to get a sense of who you are as a person. And so I knew that I was gifted when it comes to trying to be funny and make people laugh, which is cool. But in this area, when you're talking about acting and modeling and stuff, it's like a fairy tale dream, right? To a lot of people. Like when you talk about wanting to be with your name in the lights and stuff, or be a blockbuster, action film star or comedic actor or what have you, it's a pipe dream in this area, or it used to be, where if that's what you wanted to do, when you would say those out of your mouth, 99% of people would say, well, you're in the wrong area to do it. Yeah,
I always had the comedy and the class clown thing down, but those are two things I could never do, was dance or draw. Now, I'm good with like Adobe and, making stuff look cool, like videography and that kind of stuff, but actually drawing, man, you're lucky to get a stick figure out of me. Not let alone dancing, I'll definitely live up to the white boys can't dance.
Darwinism has a weird way of just funneling folks into their own lanes. And that's what's happening, is like, even for me, like I knew that I wasn't in this particular crowd. And so naturally what happened was the only people that I was talking to was like just the most uncoolest of people. But yet I was the coolest of the uncoolest. So right. Then you get some gravitas, and here you are giving out directions, and you're the boss of your, group of misfits. But that develops personality. Those are always the group of folks that go to the teacher at the end of class, and sit there and play games with the teacher and stuff, because that's the group of misfits. The cool kids left first. They always they left first. They didn't care. They didn't care about education. They just wanted the popularity of it all.
Right. Yeah, I definitely didn't care about education when I was in school. Now I'm all about it. I just actually got my BA in May and got accepted into the MBA program that I start January 12th. But yeah, back then I was all, what do girls think? What do those around me think? And had all the wrong motives, Yeah. Learn from experience instead of from what learning from others. Now I try and learn from other people's mistakes so I don't have to make them myself.
Yeah.
But back then, everything I had to learn, I had to do it the wrong way.
Yeah. It's so funny. When you're raised with two dads, which sounds like a premise to a really great joke. But that's one of the things my stepdad used to say. He used to have this saying. He'd say, "When I'm not here no more, what are you gonna do?" and that was relative to like everything. Or if he said, if I was like, I'm trying to take the trash out, and if I don't do it right, he'll say, "Well, what if you break your arm? What are you gonna do?" I was like, "Oh, I don't know, Pop."
That's right.
And he always had that sense of just finding ways to get things done and stuff. And I find that funny because, like, I don't know, in this day and age, I think that's missing a lot sometimes because that's all you need to have. Sometimes it's just that literal sense of, perseverance and not wanting to give up and pedal to the metal kind of spirit.
Keep your foot on the gas, baby.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. So what was your first real exposure to acting, hosting, or production?
So it started, I was an acting instructor, but it started when I first auditioned, of course, here in town at Images. And for that time, they were selling those trips, of course, to LA and New York and everything, but I couldn't afford it. So then for 2 years, I was studying and trying to learn what I could, whether it be slating or monologues or commercial acting or dramatic acting, those kind of things. And then from there, I just went into doing as much as I could. And then I just enjoyed the fun of the process. I think is probably the main thing because then I started doing anything I could. So then there was Eyes Wide Open Productions that was doing gospel stage plays. This was around the time Tyler Perry kind of became big too. So then there was a play that we prepped for years and did a few out at the Thoroughbred Center on Paris Pike and I played the comedic relief in it. And it was just fun, just the process of it. And that's the beauty of what we do is like you've got theater, which is its own thing. You practice and practice and practice, and then you go and you're on stage, right? And you're preparing for a specific day and specific times and stuff like that. And so it's its own animal. But then you have, on the flip side, you have like television production or movie production where you've got different takes and stuff and you got months to plan and stuff like that. And it's just a different energy. And then you've got like television show production where you've got specific spots that you're trying to hit, whether it's a 30-minute show or whether it's an hour-long show, you have specific spots and shoots that you want to hit. Right. And one thing that I enjoyed still is didn't matter whether it was theater or whether it was like a 30-minute specific show or niche show, or whether it was like a film or a movie, once the production wraps, it's like a collective effort from both in front of the camera and then behind the camera. It's a coalition of fun with the talent to get them comfortable and to set the stage and the energy for the shoot to get what you need as a talent. But then on the flip side of it, the production crew, that's one of the things that's one of the most funnest parts of it all is because like you've got folks that enjoy seeing it, but maybe they just don't want to be in front of the camera. They just enjoy being in that energy.
A part of it.
And you see it in their faces, in their eyes, whether it's somebody that's in charge of wardrobe or somebody that's in charge of audio or what have you, like everybody is bought in. And so then after it wraps, it's like this completion, like as though everybody just sat there and drew the Mona Lisa all together. Right. And then after it's done and dried, you're like,
okay,
and
I
that's
see
what
it now.
And then what they do and they walk away, and that's why they get those big applause of it's a wrap. Those buzzwords in TV and film production is like, it's a wrap. That's a cut. That's good. Or like we like to use right here, I'd buy that.
Yeah.
For $1 or $2.
Absolutely.
I'd buy that.
So was there a moment when you're just like, this isn't a hobby, this is, I'm in my lane now?
Yeah. For me, there's a few pinnacles or a few forks in the road that's led me here. And it's been a journey for the last year or so, but one, of course, is starting D.A.D Entertainment back in February, knowing that if I was to completely dive into the vision of being able to provide a space for talent in this area, a platform to be able to reach people, I have to go ahead and get that behind the scenes work done. And so that's one part of it. But then another part of it was the networking done and talking with and the accepting and correlation between D.A.D Entertainment and Lex Studios. I think one of the biggest parts of the partnership and the working together with Lex Studios, it lies in the fact that the vision is still the same between both parties, is that I think they have a dream and a vision for being able to grow the area in the term of entertainment industry and projects and shooting things, and then also growing the next generation too, whether it's folks from the universities coming in to serve and intern here at the studio to help us produce these different projects, or if it's just bringing in talent in front of the camera and on our end for where we're working on with the classes that we shoot every Saturday, where we are inviting people that are interested in acting to be in front of the camera, where I will give tutelage and cues and pointers and talking points and coaching points for people to experience in front of the camera, so we can get folks interested in learning the classes, right. Learning the skills it takes in front of the camera. And for each his own purpose. Some people do it for the reason to want to be on TV, and then some people do it just for their own purposes, like public speaking or communication skills and stuff like that, and taking it back to their respective work zones and implementing ways to improve their workflow there at their workspaces, whether they're in auto manufacturing or what have you, or whether it's office work or there's so many industries that could take advantage of the idea of improving, public speaking and personal relationships and communication skills. It's all fun.
Yeah, I wouldn't film my podcast anywhere else than Lex Studios, man. I love it. Love everybody here. Coop, you the man. Tim, shout out when you're watching this episode. And also the tax incentives, man. Like you're saying, people don't realize there's like a 34% tax incentive to come to the state of Kentucky and film. And the thing I love about Kentucky is, besides like the desert, you can kind of make any landscape happen for the most part.
That is the piece of this whole pie that is the most exciting, because when you're talking about the idea of producing a project, on a high level processing of it all, you're looking at it to understand the bottom line and how much it's going to cost to shoot. For us, our focus was the idea of not worrying about the price, because I knew that they was going to be able to help us out in any way possible. The fact is, the incentives that they are doing for Kentucky is amplifying the possibilities and the ceiling of what is possible in Kentucky. The key in the through line through that whole process, in which we have excited ourselves about, is you have to have a conduit to get from point A to point B in that process. A talent, a lightning rod, something that can kind of stop people from scrolling and get people excited.
Right.
Good missions, good partnerships, good energies, all those things. And in our case, what we're saying is that, dude, if all we want is the idea of being able to produce projects for the whole community right here, and you're telling me that it's going to cost us X amount to be able to accomplish these things, but the benefit is exponential, and it spreads across the state and then into the entire country, is the idea that we can produce high-level, high-quality entertainment content right here. Whether it's like a talk show, whether it's Everybody Loves Raymond 2.0.
Right. Well, and like you said, especially today with people's attention spans, you need to get them in like the first second, because everybody's dopamine and serotonin from scrolling and being wired off the 1.2 second thing. That's why I was like, honestly, a lot of the reels that I made that blew up was ones like straight action right off the rip, right? So like I'm jumping out of a plane and filming it, or I'm on a jet ski and, like just something where it's like fast movement really quick.
It's because the algorithms on all these social media platforms they know what works. And so one of the aspects of this network that we've built is the idea that we hope to try to help correct the algorithm in a way. And the thinking behind doing that is, one, there is a tremendous amount of paid programming possible and available. And so there's the opportunity of people putting things on television and airing it in these particular time slots and evaluating their successes of it or the failures of it by the ratings that you get in the time zones that you get in the time frames that you get them.
Right.
And so in using that, you can also then adjust whatever content you decide to choose to create. And then in our case, you use it to then proposition it for syndication. I'm friends with Lee and our friends at Lee and Haley and the Lee and Haley Show.
I just had Lee on, was it a week ago? Last week as a guest.
Yeah. Lee, they have a business model for what they've done that is worth copying to a degree because they understand it. And again, me and Lee go way back to when I was at Comedy Up Broadway doing shows there or trying to do stand-up there, keyword trying. And he was always a really good voice in my ear about things. And but it's a very similar route, is that you have to create the demand, and that's key. If you create something worth watching, people will pay attention. Right. And so if it's a singular person late night talk show like Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon or Steve Colbert, as long as it's entertaining enough and people are wanting to watch it and that you're silly enough and you have a niche of folks that like your style and stops people from scrolling, then you're in good shape.
Exactly.
You know, or if it's a 2-person daytime talk show, again, as long as it's entertaining and stops people from scrolling and it allows people to want to save it to their DVRs,
right?
Then you're in good shape. And that's what Lee and Haley have. Yeah. It's very similar. But in this area, there's no late night talk show. And I don't know if there's a late night African-American male on late night talk show at all. I don't think there is. And
well, that's why we need to make sure they're following the Dwight at Night talk show, baby. Saturdays coming to you live from Lex Studios.
I don't think there is. Yeah. And that's the thing about it is this region has so much potential and it's fun. And there's a lot of folks that have that creative spirit, but the problem is there has been a gap in being able to actually bring those ideas and thoughts to fruition. And then when Lex Studios came around, to circle back to the question of how do we get to here, it's because, again, between Lex Studios and the energy around here and then the vision that we have that allows us to complement what they want to get accomplished. You know, it's like yin and yang, you know, peas and corn.
Right. We was like peas and corn, Jenny. Forrest Gump reference. I love it. So you've worn a lot of hats, man. Acting coach, videographer, host, producer. How did those early roles shape your versatility?
So I knew that at the end of the day, in this area, if you're going to get work, you're going to have to wear a few different hats. And the first one that I like to reference back to is when I was an acting instructor for John Herbert Power's Model and Talent Agency out of Louisville. And I went there on their audition just like they do here in Lexington. Like it was just a different version, but it was the same spiel. And so what I noticed when I went there, I told them when they was ready to give me that wholesale of a speech about we'd love you to come out to the LA or New York trip. It'd be $3,000. Just we got payment plans. We'll teach you for the next 6 months. And I stopped them at that point. And I said, look, I just want to work in the industry. I don't know what I have to do, where I have to go, what we have to do, but is there any opportunity that I can help improve the industry as a whole here? Because I've got a family here, and at the time, you know, I have a family, a wife, my mom, everybody lives here. Right. I'm not gonna go out to LA with $0 in my account after spending my last $4,000 just to get on the trip to try to make this dream happen.
And no family.
And no family, right? And then they're back home. So how can I improve the industry here? And the story goes, they added me as a part-time substitute teacher as an acting instructor. And so for those few months where they needed me to fill in, the students and the parents of those students loved my classes more than they loved the original teacher. And so then here we are basically taking over the classes, and the students are retaining more information, and they're having a great time, and they're learning. And before you know it, they ended up just letting the original teacher go, and they allowed me to continue to teach their classes. And that's when I was like, dude, we've got something here. Because they was dropping in their parents into the classes just to see those who were on the fence about whether they wanted to pay the tuition,
Right.
Come on in, sit down if you want to. Do you want to see what it's about? And they sure did. They hung out, and we would do the same class that I do now at Lex Studios, very similarly. Same issues, same teaching points, because the art isn't in the fundamentals, so to speak. It's in how it's taught. Like, for example, like you can play basketball, and the same fundamentals in basketball is you got to tuck your elbow in for a free throw, put it in the palm of your hand, little space, follow through, right?
Exactly.
Same thing when it comes to acting and improv, is that you have certain fundamentals, but it's about how you are taught them, how you perceive them, how you process them. And so much so that the folks at John Robert Powers, the head lady that operated it, right, decided she wanted to create her own class for herself, or her own studio, because at this point we're growing. And so from there we go, and before you know it, we have created a new studio called Harry Allen Studios, which is still in Louisville to this day. And still doing casting and auditions and sending out advertisements for families needed for photos and stuff like that. They still are doing the same work that they did then. But the business models was different, because they didn't have the vision of trying to create a full industry. They just are in the mindset of supplying talent for like projects and stuff, not so much creating the projects. Right. And so the difference is now, when I understood that, I was like, well, this will only go so far. And so ultimately it became a case where we was like, well, then at this point, I want to continue to find a way to build an industry. And so what that ended up evolving to was having a recipe where we build enough of a network to where we can have somebody to help us be able to help produce it from the meat and potato side, like Lex Studios, right? And then you have a narrative and a vision on the other side to help supply the talent so that we can create shows. And then you have to have a conduit that has a product that is worth watching, that is captivating. And so somebody that's weird, crazy, and it's the same scenarios that's been played out across America for years. Like, I mean, in our culture, it's like, if you look back to when Oprah was doing her thing in Chicago when she first started her talk show, if you look back when Tyler Perry started doing his stage plays with Medea, because it was just laugh out loud funny, right? Like all these trend-setting type of folks was huge in their own rights. And so for the majority of it, you're wondering, hold on, oh, that's my mother calling. Oh, you can't. It ain't messed up to send your mother to the voicemail. You ain't never done that, have you?
No, well, especially on a podcast, I would.
But yeah, so that's the thing is like when you're talking about building an infrastructure in an area, the idea is that if you can help create the demand, and then on the flip side, have enough muscle to be able to supply, then when you create something funny like a late night talk show, and then you have help like Lex Studios or what have you, then it's endless. And then you can grow it out and layer it to introduce sitcoms, reality shows. All kinds of items are at the disposal if you've got a good network together.
So to play off that, training over 50 students every weekend for 5 years, that's no small feat, right?
Dude.
What stands out most to you from that chapter?
That's a good
And then
question.
I'll get into
You're
after.
So good.
I got some good questions for you, bro.
That's a good question. And the best way I can sum that thought up was at the time I was riding in a Corolla. I lived in Lexington at the time. And the classes was in Louisville. And I had a 4-door Corolla Sport. And you know how the winters are. Some folks may know how the winters are in Lexington and in Kentucky, where you got sleet, ice. And so they called me to let me know, hey, the main teacher can't make it. Can you make it as my substitute teacher? So I was like, no, I can't. But the pressure's on at that point because you're already the substitute. The substitute can't call in.
Right. You're the substitute.
So she put the pressure on and showed me that here I am driving down the highway, white knuckles, and I'm black. My knuckles was white. Gripping that steering wheel, like just like this, driving down the highway. And it really told me about the amount of dedication and commitment there was to being able to make these things go and to help build that business for them. And then just during that time period, helping build the industry and the trust in the industry then. And that's when I knew it was fun for me. I was like, if I'm willing to do this, dude.
Right. Well, like you said, it's that perseverance, consistency, and just suiting up and showing up and putting in the work to become good at your craft. Because it's like we can sit there and pray, you know, for things to happen, which is great. But unless we put the action and the work into making that happen, you can't expect God to bless those prayers.
No.
It's like foxhole prayers.
Yeah.
So you even taught Carolyn Dodd, man, before Hollywood career took off. What's it like seeing students succeed at that level?
Dude, that was so amazing because I'll tell you about Carolyn. She was a student at the time where she was in some of my more toddler classes, or not even toddler, like preteen classes. And she was a bottle of lightning. And it's the same story that I have known to be true every time I've taught acting, is that every person has a door that just needs to be opened just a little bit. Everybody needs that push. And if it speaks to the energy of what you want for yourself or that you see yourself, if it's the light that was inside of you, then it makes it that much better.
Right.
Because then when that door opens, you embrace every bit of who you are as a person.
And you got a passion and a purpose.
Had a passion and a purpose. And so what Carolyn did is when after working with her, by then we ended up doing a little presentation class at the Lyric Theater in Lexington. And again, this is a while ago, probably about 2011, 12. I have to go back and look. But after that, then she headed on out to California, and her mom and dad are really wonderful people. And sure enough, she went out there and did from a few videos to she actually was nominated, I think, for an Emmy for her guest role in Chicago PD, I think in 2017. And then I think she then procured a role next to Ray Romano, one of my favorite friends. I like to call him Fred, but he don't know me. But one of my favorite fellows, I love Ray Romano, primarily because of everybody loves Raymond. I love Ray. So if we can get Ray on Dwight at Night, I'm in heaven. But anywho, I digress. But she was able to get a role with Ray on the show. It's on HBO Max called, what was that? Hold on. It's on the tip of my tongue. See, getting old sucks. What was hold on.
HBO Max, Ray Romano.
Yeah, hold on. I know it. Hold on. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Ray Romano, Carolyn Dodd.
I know this. See, when you get old, some stuff just pops to your head, and then before you know it, you lose it.
Watch this. What show had Ray Romano and Carolyn Dodd on it together?
Get Shorty.
Yes.
See, it's on tip.
There you go.
Get Shorty. Yes, Get Shorty. I knew it would come to me eventually, but yeah, and it was for 2 seasons, and she played, I think, the daughter in it, I believe, of. Oh,
we pulled up Get Shorty. See, that was a dope movie, but that ain't what he's talking about. But that was a really good movie.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, Get Shorty, and then there was a sequel to Get Shorty.
And they gave it a rendition. And it was on HBO Max. Sure enough.
Yeah, that was an awesome movie. So you're saying the Get Shorty's off of that movie?
Yes.
Oh, nice. I'll have to check that out then.
Do a Get Shorty HBO Max version.
And then type in Carolyn Dodd, maybe.
Yeah. D.O.D.
There we go. 2-year TV series.
Yep.
2017 to 2019.
Yep. And she played Chris O'Dowd's daughter in that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
We go Ray Romano. He got all skinny and older.
He did.
Yeah.
He
I was
did.
like, okay. Nice.
Dude, when I found that out, and like I said, I was so happy for her because, like I said, her family, really good folks. They are from Kentucky. Mm-hmm. I think they still stay out that way. But the whole thing with all of it was that I would love the idea of being able to produce these different types of shows here. And it's possible because of the landscape, because of what they're capable of here at Lex Studios, and then, of course, Wrigley Media and the reach that is in this area. Like, there's all kinds of possibilities. And I think it's just requiring some degree of just a bubbling atmosphere of the same spirit. And in my opinion, you putting off a late night talk show to help facilitate some of these guests coming through the region to help promote, because that's the purpose of the Dwight at Night too, is like it's meant to.
That's what we're doing on the GITT Up podcast, baby.
That's it. Just to promote, just to put other people out there, right? To enjoy seeing other people's perspective and helping people, because it's fun. I mean, to me, this is if I could have done this straight out of high school, I would have done it.
Right.
But it has not been possible until now.
So you've been a part of like TV productions, Nashville, Relative Justice. What being on a professional set show you about the industry? Because I know obviously you got a good handle on it now. So
yeah, I love the nuances to the relationships on set. And there's a lot that you don't ever see or know about until you're on set. You learn the hierarchy of those who are calling the shots in terms of the directors, right? So then you see everybody get all tied up and on their toes when some particular person walks through and you're like, oh, he's an important person, yada, yada, right? So then there's that little nuance. So then there's that. Then if you're on the talent side, you have certain places to be and stuff like that. So then you kind of gravitate to the relationships with the other talent. So then you're working with them and then you're asking them, how'd that shoot go? Did it go good? Kind of thing. You need some help? What are you thinking? Yada, yada. You know, you can go through all that. And then you have the production side where you're just like a fly on the wall watching everything happen, like whether it's adjusting for a shot or adjusting the audio, and then you're listening and you're hearing, and then you gotta maybe add some effects to things and stuff like that. Like there's so many nuances, and then it all culminates to the work towards the final project, the final completion. And so then after it's all said and done, you're like, that's awesome.
Well, and it's cool too, because I noticed during this process, a lot of people are in the dark about certain things. So it's like you may know everything that goes on around this 10 minutes of the movie or the film or the project, but it's like in the end, like you said, that cut, it's a wrap, and then the actual showing, you're like, oh, now it makes sense. Yeah. So some of the stuff, you have no clue why they're doing what they're doing.
Dude, it's so funny. And that's the magic of cinema. Is that to see it in first person here at Lex Studios and some of the projects that's been shot here and around Central Kentucky, you see that. You're like, dude, how'd you get this out of that? And then sometimes it's a matter of trying to fill out the part. So you're asking them, what do you need me to do? And then they'll tell you, and then you don't have much reference, a lot. You're just kind of going by the seat of your pants sometimes, depending on the role that you're in, right? And then you get more information, of course, if you're like a first cast, or if you're like the main lead, if you're the male lead or female lead, you kind of have to get more context. But if you're on the extras, or if you're playing a role or a non-speaking role, sometimes you just have to understand those nuances and piece it together. And so just the fun of that. As you get it all finished up, and then as you transition from and that's the beauty of the industry, is that on one day you may be an extra, and then on the next day you may be a lead or a focal character, and then on the next day you may be like the male lead, and that's the career, just like any other. Like you continue to work your way through it. And then you realize, like, this is fun. You begin to learn those dynamics, and you're just happy about it. And as you figure it out and you go through the process, you can sit back and look at it and be like, I don't know how I was able to get from A to B, but I did it, and it felt good. Yeah.
So I've done the extra work. So now I need to get to that next level, because I just like dip my feet in, and it's like now I want to kind of maybe go full throttle with it?
I tell you, when I did the show Nashville, and I was on the set of it, it was an all-day shoot, and I had to drive, of course, so by the time I got down there, you're already tired, and you're not getting paid sometimes as much as you would ideally want, but you do it for the love of it anyway. So then you go down there, they tell you what they want from you, and then who knows when you're going to shoot again. You'll shoot a shot, you'll shoot it 5 straight times, and then they'll take you back to holding, and you'll be there just sitting.
Right.
And then you'll see every now and then some action where maybe they saw a face that they like in the crowd, and they're like, give me that guy. Oh, he fits this look. And sometimes it's not whether you look good or not. Sometimes it's whether you meet the look, whether it's like if you're African-American or if you're white, if they need to balance the scene out and the background out and to make it look, and so, and then all of a sudden they like, okay, here you are thinking you're about to wrap for the day and leave, and you're happy that you did. And it's like, hey.
No, actually, you shave, and then now that you don't have facial hair, we got a perfect part for you.
You come on.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it was funny. And then I was like, all right, I'll do it. And it was a night shoot by then. And then they, of course, the whole trick of wetting the street and everything and making everything look like it's nighttime and stuff. And then my whole experience of it, they was shooting some kind of nighttime scene, and I was supposed to have been at the club. And mind you, they sure enough said, you just got to act like you can dance. I said, son of a biscuit eating dog. Look, I went all this way. So I busted a jig, but granted, the focus was so far back that it was blurred out. You didn't see those moves.
Right.
You didn't see those hip swiggles. No, you didn't.
And you actually did good too, right?
Yeah. It was
the one time you wanted it shown.
The one time it was the greatest dance you've ever seen me do, you will never see in your life.
So you also worked at comedy off-Broadway early on. Yeah. How did being around live performance influence your understanding of like timing, energy, and just audience engagement?
So,
because that's a totally different ballgame.
I was working there before I could serve drinks. So I was about 19, 20. And at that time, my friend Scott Wilson was the MC of the place and has been since. And one of the things, and I just started there as a hostess because by then I'm working at McDonald's as a manager, and on the flip side, I'm trying to get this acting career going. So I'm taking anything and everything I can, and so I was working that in the afternoons and evenings for their shows, and the roles that I had to play. All I do was seat people, right? Bring people through the door. They gave me their ticket, and I knew where the seats were throughout the whole place. And so I knew for the bigger roles or the bigger talent, bigger name acts, they'd come through. The place was a lot tighter because they had more tables and stuff. So you get a layout of the land, and then after you seat everybody and the show starts, you get to sit in the back and watch the show. For that part, for the matter was, I wasn't able to serve a drink, so it's not like I could help take drinks or anything like that. So you sit in the back and watch the show, and you watch the 6 o'clock show, and then you watch the 7:30 show, then you watch the 9 o'clock show. You can do that Monday, or you do it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and you start to get a feel of these acts that come through, and you understand what it's about to be in front of a crowd every night, and the nuances of every crowd being different every night, but yet you still have your same material and jokes you want to do. And then you're able to go back into the green room and talk to some of these guys, right? And so you get a lot of insight. And then, of course, just being around the business of it. I remember a story, Scott, and them at a Christmas gathering, they did a Secret Santa, and they gave me a 100 Greatest Joke Bible book, something other, and to be funny. And I'll always remember that. And so, like I said, great folks out there. And that's been one of the things is over the years, you just create these memories of networks of friends that you know that are just in the same industry as you are. And I did that, like I said, for about 2-3 years. And then after that, started teaching down in Louisville.
Nice.
Yeah.
So let's talk about D.A.D. Entertainment, baby.
Yeah.
What was the vision behind starting your own company as an entrepreneur? Kind of like you were saying, instead of having to go to L.A. or New York or whatever, you're like, I'll just do it here myself.
Yes. Well, because there was a few things that kind of popped into my head around the time when I started really focusing in on doing my own entertainment company. And at that time, it was the fact that I've got 4 girls, my wife and and then we've got a family there at home, my mother-in-law, and then we've got 4 dogs. And so for me, one thing I've learned is that time is the biggest thing to market yourself around and to gauge your activities and what you do.
Only 24 hours in a day.
Only
man.
24 hours
That's
in a
how
day.
you manage it.
And when you've got 4 children and a wife and a family, where I was at Toyota, I was a manager out there or in management as a group leader. And it was taking up a tremendous amount of time in every single day. And it was nonstop. And it was Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturday. And if I'm going to try to find a way to be ever more present father, family figure, in handling just that piece of it, I got to figure something out. And then 2, doing something that you're passionate about,
right?
That you enjoy, that isn't considered work to you. And for me, if I was to be truthful to myself, it would be the idea of being able to make people laugh, being able to create shows that make people laugh and heal people, because that's the crux of what I was envisioning with a successful launch of D.A.D Entertainment, is that there is so much out there that needs to be rectified and fixed. Energies from whether it's the political world or whether it's local items and issues, whether it's weather, there is so much out there where folks just need a release of just laughter, and that's different. That maybe is somewhat nostalgic in a way to them, in a way to where they can embrace it, because folks would watch Family Matters again. Folks would
that was
watch,
a great show.
Whose Line Is It Anyway again.
Right.
They would watch Everybody Loves Raymond again.
I think I saw something like the Whose Line Is It Anyway? I think I saw it said like Whose Live Is It Anyway?
Yes,
but it's the same peeps.
touring.
I saw
Yeah,
Mike and
they're
them from
touring.
on there.
Yeah.
Aren't they going to like Louisville?
Yeah, I don't know if it's Louisville or was it the Opera House here. I don't know.
I think it was Louisville.
Was it Louisville?
Yeah.
And I saw that. And that's the thing. It's like people want to laugh again. People need that. They don't even know they need it, but they need it. Because when we did our show last week, and this is here recent, here at the studio, our first 2 talents that came to see what it was about, kind of thing. And the energy coming into the studio and the space, as we settled them into the studio, we had the chairs ready and everything with the studio and the lighting and everything. It was all one. And it was a matter of just setting the ambiance in the space. And originally it was apprehensive and some degree just trying to figure things out.
Right.
By the time they left, the smile and energies on their faces and in their cheeks from laughing and in their spirit, you could just sense that this is why we do these things. It's because people need to laugh.
Right.
And people need to be happy again. But then also create relationships across these lines of division, if that makes sense. Like humor crosses Republican and Democrats. It does. Only thing is, the highways to funny is different.
Right.
And so what makes a Republican laugh can be the same thing that can make a Democrat laugh, but based on whatever spectrum of that realm they're on, determines what exit ramp you take when you're trying to make those folks laugh.
Right. Well, you got to have something for everybody.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so one thing I've learned is, like, from a broad standpoint, high level view, you put stuff out there that makes everybody laugh, whether it's kids, adults. There'll be references in my monologue that you'll hear that kids will get 6, 7, right? Or it could be something that's more relatable to, older folks, and Ike and Tina, those kind of just different reference points that comedy has no bounds.
Right.
But the goal is that it is able to heal. And if you can put it in if you can bundle it up in the right way, you're in good shape.
So let's plug Dwight at Night too. So D.A.D Entertainment, for those who don't know, is Dwight Alexander, right?
Yes, Dwight Alexander Douglas. And so the acronym, or my initials, is D.A.D. Right. So that's how it started.
And then you got, I saw a promo you did with Lex Studios, right? What's your website again?
DwightAlexDouglas.com.
Boom. There we go right there.
Yeah.
So we got it pulled up on the screen. D.A.D Entertainment, baby. There he is.
DadEntertainment.com.
There's the hospital scene you were talking about.
Yes. He almost killed that alligator.
Scroll up a little bit so you can see that full screen.
And so there's...
is there a way to maximize it?
That's the intro to the show to air on Saturday. Like I said, it was funny to shoot that one. And I had a goatee when I shot that. And I had a little more thickness on my cheekbones.
Yeah, you lost 10 pounds.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I did. It was that new shot I had.
You're like me. You saw yourself on video. You're like, all right, that's it. I'm smashing the gym.
I've got to do it. Get that new Ozempic shot on my hip right there. Shoot it right in the glutes.
So how did Dwight at Night come to life, and what separates it from other talk shows?
So Dwight at Night, it was the basis of it, the core of it is its purpose. And it starts with the idea of being able to promote local talent, to promote the area, to promote the region, and using a talent, not to be self-braggadocious, but using a talent that is decent enough, halfway decent looking enough, funny enough, to where it's a item that can be digested nationwide. And so if you have that it factor, to take a vision nationwide to where folks across the country can gravitate to it and enjoy it and watch it, then you are in a unique position to, if you use the right business model, grow an industry.
Right.
And so if the first project is to be a late night talk show, the reason I chose that, because I could have propositioned Lex Studios to the idea of doing a daytime talk show kind of thing. I also have a file for a sitcom where I can layer out a sitcom around what I do and stuff. But the main reason I chose the late night talk show is because it promotes the local community and region.
Right.
So when you're talking about the idea of getting actors to come here, when you talk about the idea of getting A-list celebrities, or when you talk about promoting the current celebrities in our city, whether it's like Larry Starks or Joe Deuce or Goo McIntyre when it comes to comedy, or if you're talking about singers, my pastor Rodney McFarlane Jr., or like I can go on and on about just some of the amazing talented people in this area, that if you have a stage that has enough gravitas to reach further than just here, then you have something special. But you have to cultivate it, and it has to be a serving of the people kind of thing, not serving for me. Now, even though I'm part of it, yeah, and I'm going to enjoy the ride and everything, but it's also a huge important part of it is to promote the people, because it's the people that's going to watch. It's the people that's going to encourage their family to say, hey, come out and see me at Lex Studios. Come out and see me do this interview at Lex Studios with Dwight Alex Douglas for the talk show that's going to air on Saturdays. You know, and then the end game is you mess around and you get a select few of 5 to 10 actors or actresses that have been taking these improv classes. And the end game and the idea of being able to challenge Saturday Night Live when it comes to sketch comedies, to push the envelope for what Dave Chappelle laid the groundwork for when it comes to sketch comedies for, subscription type of platforms like HBO's and Netflix and stuff like that.
Right.
Like,
well,
if you push that envelope, then
sky's the limit.
Dude.
Well, that's why I love what you're doing, because that's what I'm trying to do too. Like bring on entrepreneurs and other people and give them a different platform and a different way to plug stuff. Because I know a lot of news outlets too, and I know you do. Yeah. So we need to, like, off the air, collaborate more and just see what we can do. And it's like we're both at Lex Studios for a reason at the same time, right?
I tell you what, I love it. And that's one of the things I remember a couple of weeks ago, we was talking about it, and I remember they was building a set in one part of the studio, and then they was building something else. And then I remember he was telling me about you, Adam, and everything that you've been doing and stuff. And I was like, dude, that would be a pretty darn cool podcast. And then on the flip side of that, I would love to be able to bring them on and to talk about some of the engagements and the things that you are doing for, whether it's, I know you was doing the, you do a lot of social media, business marketing, stuff like that, and improving folks' social media and stuff like that. But I mean, the sky's the limit when it comes to what can be done, and what can be shown, and it'd be literally like right downstairs.
Yeah, I'm like you. I got a lot of cool things going on. So I got my clothing company. I started out of a trunk. Now we're in 41 states and 3 continents, and just inspiring people, man. And then me and my fiance, she opened up a women's residential treatment center for substance use.
Yes.
So we got that thing going full throttle, and that's a project. And then I'm doing social media consulting. I'm starting my MBA soon. I've started writing my autobiography. I'm 3 chapters in. So, you know, only like 29 pages, but it's something. It's enough momentum to keep me rolling.
How in the world? I always wanted to. I sat there and thought about that the other day, a few days back. I was like, I would love to write something, but I don't even know where I would start. How do you start something like that?
Like anything else, you just do it, and then as you do it, you get better at it, and just realize I've already lived it. I just got to literally put the time in, like you said, time management. So I need to allot this time. And for some reason, I notice when I get in the school zone, right? So if I have to spend this much time writing papers or doing work anyways, I'll just throw a little extra on and write for myself.
See, it's
like the time management.
It's this mental space.
Yeah. Because
that's something that I've done many times over here, and they'll tell you, I'll sit there and I'll ground myself to find, in my case, of course, I'm doing stand-up and making funny jokes and stuff and trying to make interviews funny and everything, all that. And so I'm trying to find the funny. But in the same breath, whatever it is, when you center yourself and find that energy of what you're trying to channel and feel,
right?
And that's the fun of why I like doing this, like entertainment stuff, is because as a talent, that's a gift.
Right.
You enjoy being able to embrace it. And then once you tuned in, whether it's in front of the camera or if it's theater or stage plays and stuff like that, that same adrenaline rush is there.
Right.
Where you're like, I'm here, I'm present, I'm ready. I've got it all figured out.
Right.
And then you enjoy the process.
Right. And you know what you're doing is a good thing. And you're trying to help people, and you're trying to, you know, for you, like make people laugh, for me, like motivate and inspire people. And it's like, other people need to hear our stories. So like, why not? You know, I've seen people with huge platforms, and I'm like, I could do a more interesting podcast than that. So it's like anything else, man. I could have waited till I had a perfect podcast algorithm 5 years from now, or I can start it, film a good podcast in the meantime, and then have 5 years of episodes out to get me to the point I'm trying to get at. Instead of, I wouldn't even have started.
Yeah.
So it's like just jumping in, man, just taking a shot. You lose 100% of the shots you don't take.
That's one thing I noticed is even when I stepped away from Toyota as a manager out there, and I transitioned over to pushing as much as I can for D.A.D Entertainment to get it off the ground and flying, you have to have that wherewithal. You have to have that gumption about you to be committed enough, you know, and I mean, having a central focus with my church and my church family and my wife and
me too.
You know, you factor all those things in, and this is how you know. And I'll give you a quick story. This is how you know that if you're on the right way to doing something that it was kind of meant to be, kind of thing. And I tell you, this story was that in meetings in an effort to try to get funding and front end capital for doing D.A.D Entertainment, it kind of started at the Lex Commerce and Small Business Association that they have to help small businesses get off the ground. And so the project manager of that wing of the Lex Commerce entity that's downtown for Lexington, the project manager just so happened to be the first lady at my church at First Baptist Church, Bracktown.
That's a God thing.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so right at the time when you're wondering whether you need to take that step or follow that dream, you see little trails of things. And so then I was like, okay, that's interesting. You know, and so then when it came to, as it continued to crescendo, then even our promotions marketing specialist, Pamela Hunchel with Monarch Promotions, same thing. It was one of those things where even she had the same energy about making sure it was the right thing to do and what she felt in an organic kind of way, spirit led. And so what we do on the show and the vision that we have for it and the projects that we have in the future, I don't think they would have happened without having that degree of conviction and that degree of focus around the right things that has made everything just, as awesome as it's been so far.
A meme I posted yesterday fits perfect with that. If you want God to open and close doors, you need to let go of the doorknob.
Oh, I like that.
So it's like, I tell people, they're like, how you doing? This, like some people are struggling to do like a 9 to 5 working for somebody else. And I'm like 9 to 5. I remember my first part-time job. And it's like, just knowing that what I'm doing is a good thing, praying about it, putting the action into work into making it happen and realize God's everything and I'm nothing. And it's like once you actually have that epiphany and realize, like you're saying, your passion and your purpose, sky's the limit, man.
That's it. And you have to, and I came to a fork in the road with mine because I knew the limit and the sky that was there in the ceiling at Toyota and everything, which is all fine and well. But then I also knew that the time spent at home wasn't going to be any more at this rate. So I needed to find a way to adjust the time dynamic to be able to be a present help at home with my family and raising my girls, along with being able to achieve dreams for our family. So this avenue of the acting and entertainment world, it kind of opened the curtain to all of that because I knew it had always been there on the shelf, but for the coming to town of the vision and the ideas of Lex Studios and Wrigley Media and what they envision for the community and how we want the area to grow. Even though I don't necessarily work at Lex Studios, but as somebody that shares that same dream, in essence, we find ourselves working towards the same vision. Right. So even with the show, and then today it's the Dwight at Night, but the stop doesn't end there because again, my plan is to layer it out in a way so that if it's a daytime talk show talking about dramatic stories, or if it's a sitcom in essence to where we can bring back the days of Family Matter and Everybody Loves Raymond, you know? And so that's the idea. Well, like you said, man, time's everything. So I'm doing 5 times more right now than I was a few years ago, and it's easier because I'm a lot better with my time. Easier. Like I'm doing way more than I was a couple of years ago, and it's a lot easier. And how do you feel? Better. Like, as far as like, thing. Not let alone am I accomplishing more, but I'm able to show other people, like you can do this. Like there's so many, it's like we're only here. I mean, there's an afterlife. But while we're here, like find your purpose, find your passion, because that makes everything worthwhile. And there's no time limit once you do that, right? Like I used to hate like certain shifts of work or whatnot on a job I wasn't even supposed to be at. But working for myself, man, I can work 100 hours a week like it's nothing. That's it. That's it. And then the funniest part is that's the majority of people out there. That's the majority of people out there. And there is an industry that's been neglected to being able to realize the opportunity of that. Right. And that's where this whole data entertainment comes from. For that reason, is because if you fall into that category of that's what makes you happy, that's what fulfills you, that's what fills your tank up to be able to perform and be in front of the camera, make a personality and all these different things and be creative, improv actor or actress, or just be in front of the camera to just express. If you was to do that in this day and age, there wasn't anything to be able to do that for. Right. There was nothing to speak to you. And that's where this whole thing kind of came from. And so that's so true because I've felt that same thing. That's why I said, how do you feel? Because I know when I was at Toyota, I loved Toyota and I loved the people that were there. I loved all of my team members, team leaders, and group leaders. But that wasn't what you were meant to do. It just wasn't. Yeah. And I felt it in enough to where when you're getting up every day, can you get up in good spirits and good feeling and good energy without the anxiety and the pressures of not, knowing that that's where you need to be kind of thing. It just weighs on you. And so when you break that threshold where you're saying, okay, if I'm going to do it, this is what I'm going to do. Well, and you can feel the passion back and forth too, that we're both doing what we're supposed to do because you can feel the energy. Yeah. And it's like, when you're like around like-minded people. That's the same feeling that we get when we sit in the middle of that studio shooting that show. Right. And it's not just in front of the camera. Or hear a good church sermon or just something to make the back of the hairs on your neck stand up. Same thing. It's the same feeling. It's because you are where you are, and you are there because you're supposed to be there.
Right.
And that's the same thing, whether it's at church or whether it's in the studio as you're making a late night talk show or what have you. It's the same energy. It's the same thing because you feel it. You feel it on the inside, and can't nobody take that from you. You can't nobody. It's hard to explain how hairs can stand up on the back of your neck.
Right.
But when I come up with the most hilarious middle piece to a joke to tie together a monologue that I would have never saw coming, and all we got to do is just let's shoot it, and we shoot it, and then you see it hit. It's you can't explain it. And you just know that you're doing it for a reason. And that feeling is the same feeling other folks should have the access to be able to achieve.
Right.
And so again, that's just why people need the opportunities that you've got here at D.A.D Entertainment or at Lex Studios. Is
right.
Come on.
So what's so before we wrap, what's next for you at Dwight at Night and D.A.D Entertainment?
Well, I think there's a few stages. We've built this and layered it in a way to where it's almost like an onion. There's so many layers to it all. But for first and foremost, we want to make sure we reach out and get as many shows filmed, to get as much content filmed so that we can continue to air every Saturday at 10 on ABC. And then, frankly, we will continue to push the content so that we can get it in front of the powers that be, that, for example, like different platforms, whether it be Netflix or ABC, nationwide, or basically syndication.
Right.
We want to try to get it syndicated. And then we want to use that and then reinvest it in a way so that then we can continue to keep funneling in more opportunities. So not only will we try to shoot that show, but we plan to shoot more. We plan to shoot a sitcom and
keep it rolling,
shoot
baby.
them and shoot them and shoot them, and then hopefully engage other incoming folks from out of state that want to shoot projects, because that's one of the biggest things that this also kind of is hoping to help, is that showing that we've got active projects being shot here regularly. And then if you want to shoot a movie, or if you want to shoot a show or a pilot or what have you, this is the best place to be able to do it, because you can shoot the pilot and then you can shoot the full movie if you'd like to.
Exactly. You know, if you got a film project, definitely come see us at Lex Studios. So where can people watch your show, connect with you online? Give my audience all the socials, all the plugs, every way to get a hold of you.
So the website is dwightalexdouglas.com. And then and then the Facebook is D.A.D Entertainment. And then we will be airing on ABC this Saturday, December 20th at 10 a.m. And then we'll continue to air all the way through December. And then between now and then, there'll be some updates and production updates, because we may be able to continue to air through January. And then also, again, it's a snowball avalanche effect. You never know in the world of entertainment as to how things can change. Right. So, but nonetheless, we will still be doing the classes in January. And then with those classes, we're going to still be putting those out and making scenes so that whichever station it continues to air on, that it's going to be the best you've ever seen and make you laugh.
Sweet, man. Well, every guest that comes on the show, I give them some GITT apparel for coming on. So I got a black T-shirt over there for you. Coop's going to throw us. Boom. Figure this will be perfect for you after our episode. Inspire to be better?
Yes. Yes. What size is it? Is it?
Get motivated. Live your best life. No regrets.
I love that.
It's a double. Yeah. But I can probably get you a single if that's too big.
No, well, I've got a crock pot at home full of some Campbell's soup, and I'm going to stuff myself full and fill it out. I'll tell you, I'll be able to fill it out by the time I get done eating supper.
Nice.
I love it.
Yeah, and so anybody that's watching, man, if you want to hear more inspirational stories, more CEOs, entrepreneurs, creators like Dwight and myself, check us out. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, GITT Up with Adam Larkin podcast, or at GITT Apparel. Check out Dwight on all his socials, and just follow us, man. Every Thursday, 4 p.m. on the YouTube channel and Spotify video, 5 a.m. every audio platform known to man. Let's go. Let's get it. Dwight, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.